Okay, so you filled out the persona worksheet and you got down to the last little bit of detail. And this is where it talks about the additional detail information. So, how does this additional detail help us in developing our marketing strategy? So, when we talk about additional details, it's like we're writing a story for our shopper's persona. Okay. This is going to be their backstory. It's going to tell us a little bit about who the actual shopper is, right? It allows for us to be a little bit more empathetic and, of course, help us tailor our marketing approach, right? So, if, for instance, we know she has two children, but what if she just, recently had a baby, right? Like, that's something that we want to know, okay? Photo and visual representation. Look, find a picture of someone who you think represents your shopper's persona, okay? And speak to that person, right? Now you have an actual visual of who your shopper is, all right? And we're going to say that that shopper is the person that you're speaking to. So they got a face, they have a body, right? They're dressed a particular way, okay? And then think about their quirks and habits. So, if they are a person who finds, it easy to laugh, right, or they like a very particular, type of activity like sports or something like that, let it be known. Or if they have a particular routine that they like to kind of engage in, this is your shopper's persona. Okay, just think about something that is unique to them, and then of course technology. We already kind of talked about that, but if Emily, for in our case, is an iPhone user versus an Android user, right? They prefer, one or the other. So that's something that we want to know, right? Because sometimes, that matters in how we format content and those types of things. And then, of course, social media presence. Um, what is Emily's preferred platform? Is she a Facebook girly or is she a TikTok girly? Or is she both? Is she out on X or, is she on Threads? Who knows, right? We want to know. That's who knows. We want to know where our shopper is hanging out. And if we know where our shopper is hanging out, then we know where to go find them, right? So that means that we may want to go ahead and start utilizing that strategy to be a little bit more aggressive in terms of how and what we are saying on those platforms that we know our shopper is located. Why? Because the algorithm is going to push that content in front of them. Okay. So, yes, you can still do a little bit more intentional targeting through purchasing, ad space, or you could do it organically, which is free. It may take a little bit longer, right? But you gain valuable insight and information because you're not manipulating the algorithm by adding, you know, money to it. So let's see what it does, okay? All right. Some of the other things, right? So here's some example. So this is our shopper. Emily grew up in a family that value environmental conservation, hence her sustainability, importance. She started her career in marketing after completing her degree and has since become a marketing manager. A photo of a professional woman in her late 30s smiling and standing outside with a cityscape in the background. Oh, how sophisticated, right? She starts her day with a morning run. She checks on social media during breakfast and is loyal to sustainable brands. We want to know that. Her primary use in terms of technology is an iPhone and a MacBook. And she frequently uses Instagram and LinkedIn. Yep. So for her social media presence, she is on Instagram, she's on LinkedIn, she's on Twitter, right? And she engaged frequently with those sustainability type companies, okay, that is into marketing trends. All right. So we are getting more and more information about our Emily, and that's important to us. Okay. That is important to us. All right. So, how do we use this worksheet, right? So you've already filled it out, right? So you're going to fill out each section. You're going to use the example as a guide to fill out the information on the worksheet as a guide. You're going to use the data that you collected back over in the very beginning with the market research to fill out in your actual individual worksheet. You're going to tailor your audience, right, to the specific information for your target market. How do you know what that information is? Your market research that you did a little earlier, okay? And then you want to review and refine, okay? So once you completed your review, you want to ensure that it's realistic and it's relatable. And then you want to adjust any details, right? If you need any additional feedback or anything like that, you want to go ahead and make certain that you get it. And guess what? You can start over. Never fear like this is the final. It's not, okay? You can start over and you can make it better every single time. And you can have different personas based on different, traits and demographics and interests. All right. So never feel like there's only one answer. There's multiple answers. You just have to be committed to the process to complete one for each of those shoppers. So this is our completed shoppers persona. And I'm pretty proud of it. We did a lot of work to come up to exactly who Emily is, okay? And that's what you will see inside of the work with the completed shopper's persona for Emily. But you're going to complete one for your audience. You're going to complete one for your shopper, your ideal customer, okay? So, how do we use our shopper's persona? So, you're going to use the shopper's persona for making certain that you are tailoring your marketing campaign, for ensuring that you are refining your product and service strategy, and for improving customer service. Okay, you don't want to do all this work and then have poor customer service, meaning you don't follow up, you don't answer questions, the customer feel like they're talking to a brick wall. You want to make the customer feel like they are a part of the family, right? And as a part of the family, that they're in for a long relationship with you. Okay. So when we're looking at tailoring our marketing strategy, right, the shopper persona is really there to help us get that valuable insight, like we've addressed and stated several times over. Okay, it's super important for us to be able to, truly understand exactly who we're talking to. And in order to do that, we have to get to a place where we understand all of the little detail about our shopper. And the best way to do that is through building a shopper's persona. Okay. So we're going to target the messaging, right? So we're going to target the messaging so that our shoppers feel like they're being spoken to directly. And the reason why is because it's going to address their individual preferences. Okay. We want to identify what is going to be the most effective location in terms of where our audience is hanging out. Social media, we don't want to forget about it. There are some traditional type marketing strategies that may be effective for certain demographics, but for the most part, it's very rare to see a person who doesn't have a cell phone in their hand. Okay, so we want to make sure that we're putting content out sufficiently enough to keep those particular individuals engaged. Okay, so we want to identify if they're hanging out on the social media platforms, cool. If they like websites, cool, right? Or if they like a more of a traditional approach where they come in, right? Cool to that too. We just need to know what it is. And then we want to go ahead and build out our engagement strategy, right? We want to know who that particular shopper is. We want to make certain that we are engaging with them. We want to make certain that we're designing interactive experiences that is going to capture their attention. And some of the things that includes are like contests, for sure webinars and social media challenges and engagement. Okay, so this is what we're talking about when we talk about tailoring our marketing campaign. Okay, and those are things that we are going to really, of course, kind of focus on as we go through building out our marketing strategy anyway. But this is when we're talking more particularly about using our shopper's persona to do that. And then, of course, we want to make certain that we're refining our product and service strategies. So, when we talk about refining our product and service strategies, what we want to do is we want to make certain that the preferences of that particular shopper is being addressed. So, what kind of features and benefits do our persona or our shopper value? Okay. And then we want to develop a product that is going to be easy to interface with, right? And so that it enhance their satisfaction. And then, of course, feature prioritization. This feature is going to basically resonate with those individuals who feel like, they need a more of a hands-on personal approach or touch. So offering VIP type services, right, is going to be very important to those types of customers to be kind of exclusive, if you will. And then, of course, testing and feedback. We don't want to forget about testing and feedback. When I began this conversation, I talked about how, like, larger companies can spend money on focus groups, right? And they can get a panel of people who are in their intended demographic, put them in a room, give them the product, and they can get feedback immediately, right? Or they could hire a bunch of testers to do the exact same thing. Well, as a small business, you may not have the capacity or the resources to hire a bunch of people just to test out your product. But you do have the ability to, give it away at a discount and ask for feedback, right? So we want to make certain that we're refining our products and services and strategies so that they're resonating with our intended customer, which is super important for us, right? And then another reason why we want to use our shoppers persona is because we want to make certain that we are improving customer service. And I remember, like, back in the early 90s where customer service training was like fierce, like everybody was doing it. And then, of course, over the time, the whole ideal of the customer is always right was just like, and it kind of went away. Well, I'm in a mindset that customers are still very important for your business because without them, you won't be in business for very long. So we want to make certain that we have a way of communicating with them, right? Um, I have a 8-week cohort. It's called Email Marketing for Beginners. If you're interested in that, you're absolutely free to click the link in the description, and the application to apply for the cohort is there. And that is where you will learn how to use email marketing to really kind of stay in front of and develop those relationships with your customer. Okay. But you also have other means, right? You have your websites, you have social media. Those are going to be very, very robust areas where it can support proper communications with your customer, even if it's one way, right? Now it becomes two-way when your customer engage with your content, and you want to be ready for that. You also want to personalize support. This is why I believe email marketing is so important, is because you can absolutely customize the support in email marketing. You can segment your audience, you can deliver personalized type messaging based on their preferences. So we don't want to be just focused on acquiring new customers all the time. We want to also be focused on, maintaining and developing those relationships with the customers that you have. Okay. And that's what that personalized support is. And then, of course, training for support teams. Personas can inform training for support teams and ensure that they are equipped to handle customer inquiries effectively and empathetically. So, if you have a team that is central for supporting your customer, train them. Let them know what your expectations are. Okay, that's going to be very important. All right. So this is we kind of getting to the nitty gritty. We're getting down to the very last portions. Okay. And in essentially what we're saying is that we want to make certain that we understand who our customer is. Okay. It's a valuable tool for helping us achieve our business goal. And of course, for us staying competitive. It's very, 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 very fierce out here in these social media streets, and especially inside of someone's email box. So you want to make sure that you have the best advantage. So when we talk about our personal persona and tailoring the marketing campaigns for them, that is where you're going to find your superpowers, okay? Because you can tailor marketing campaigns, you can refine products, you can develop strategies, and of course, improve that customer relationship by creating that customer centric marketing material that is going to resonate with your target audience. So, definitely utilize the information that you have here inside of this resource. Definitely fill out your shopper personas worksheet, and share this video with a friend who you know is going through maybe the pain points of potentially not being able to connect with their customer. And if that is the case, then it's probably because they're speaking to the wrong audience. All right. So share this with them. Let them know, hey, that there's something out there. It's only going to take up maybe about 2 hours of your time, and you can get it done. Okay. And that is what's super important, that you make certain that you understand and are a leader in understanding your customer. All right. And that you're meeting their needs, right? You're meeting their needs. Of course, I want to just reiterate again, we do have an 8-week cohort entitled Email Marketing for Beginners that will help you stay connected with your customer once you get them into your stratosphere. Okay. In this particular program, we talk about creating your lead magnets. We talk about setting up your lead page. We talk about your funnel. It's everything. Okay, from the beginning to the end. And a special thing about this is, like, once you do it once and you understand how to do it, you will have the ability to repeat those steps. Okay, so definitely make sure that you check the link in the bio. Apply, because we're only taking a limited number of people per class, and definitely make sure that you reconnect or you stay connected with me by clicking the link in the bio. I'm sorry, by clicking the link in the bio, by clicking the subscribe button, and definitely like this video, and for sure share it with someone who needs to understand who their shoppers are. With that, I say thank you. Remember to like the video, and please remember to subscribe to the channel. You guys have a wonderful day, and thank you for hanging out with me. Bye.